objective for this lesson is I can solve division word problems with remainders using place value disks. So we've multiplied using a place value chart and disks, and now I'm going to show you how to divide using them. So in this problem we have 48 divided by 4. So just like with multiplication, the first thing you do is you put your large number, or in this case the dividend, which is 48, in the place value chart where it belongs using disks. So we have 8 ones in 48. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we have 4 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And so now our divisor, or the number we're dividing by, is 4. So what that means is when I'm dividing by 4, it's like saying I have 48 cookies and I am going to divide them up evenly among 4 people. So I am dividing my 48 into 4 groups. So what you do is you put your disks into 4 separate groups. So in this case, it's going to be not that difficult because I have an even number. So, or numbers that are divisible by 4. So I'm going to separate. There's 1 group, 2, 3, 4. All right. So I have 4 groups. So what you ask yourself then is, once you've divided by 4 or into 4 groups, you ask yourself, well, how many disks do I have in each group? All right. So each group has 1. So that's the number I put down here. You put the number that you have in each group. So now I'm going to divide my ones into 4 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. So how many disks do I have in each group? That's right, I have 2. Right? So that's the number I put down here. And that is your answer. 48 divided by 4 is 12. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you a problem to solve, and I'm going to make it not a super complicated one, but go ahead and make sure you have a pencil or something to write with and a piece of paper, and you're going to use place value charts. All you're going to need is the ones and the tens for this one, but I want you to solve, let's do 96 divided by 3. Use the place value chart and disks like I just did to solve 96 divided by 3. Okay, so first thing we do, of course, is we have 6 ones. So I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have 9 tens. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so this one might have been a little trickier for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, again, a different way to count or put them in groups, which I think might help some of you. So again, our divisor, or the number we're dividing by, tells you how many different groups you're going to put them in. So if we were out at PE and I was going to number you off into groups, I'd go counting. Let's say I had 4 groups. I'd say you're a 1, you're a 2, you're a 3, you're a 4. Then back, you're a 1, you're a 2, right? So you can do that with your disks to put them into groups. So this is another way to divide. So I can go like this: group 1, group 2, group 3. Group 1, group 2, group 3. Group 1, group 2, group 3. Like that. And then what you do to get your number down here, instead of counting it's the same thing. You are counting how many disks are in each group. So all you have to do is look at one group. So in this case, I'm going to look at the ones. How many ones do I have? I have 1, 2, 3. So that's the number I put here. And you could do the same thing over here. Oops, what just happened? There we go. So I'm going to number off. Again, this tells me how many groups. So I'm going to number them off. 1, you're a 2, you're a 3, you're a 1, you're a 2, you're a 3. So I'm going to count. How many ones do I have? I have 1, 2. So that's the number, however many is circled is what the number I put down there, and that's the correct answer. 96 divided by 3 is 32. All right. If that confused you, stop right now and go back from the beginning of the video before we move on. The next type of problem you're going to be doing with independent practice involves division with remainders. So they started you off with small numbers here. So this says 9. Wow, that's hard to read. This says, I'll rewrite it for you. It says 9 ones divided by 4. That's the problem you're going to solve. They want you to use the place value chart and long division. Basically, you can use the place value chart, but I'm going to show you how they relate to each other so that eventually you can see how to use the algorithm. Okay, so first thing we do is we take our 9 ones and put them in the place value chart again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. In this case now I am dividing by 4. So some of you might already realize 4 is not going to go in evenly to 9. But I'm going to do the same strategy I used on the first problem. I'm going to put these discs into 4 groups. So I'm going to count off into 4 groups. Here are a 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Okay? Now, here's where it's a little different, right? Up here, I said you could just count your ones, and that's the number you put down. When you have a remainder, it's a little different, because the whole thing with division, dividing things up, is you want to divide equally. If you're sharing cookies or something with your friends, you want each of your friends to have the same number so it's fair. Same thing with this. So I can't just count the ones. I want to see how many are in each group, and then I get rid of the extra. All right? So there's 1, 2, 3 ones here, right? But I'm going to check another number. So I'll go to the 4s. There's 1 4, 2 4s, right? So there's more 1s than there are 4s, if that makes sense. So all the groups aren't equal. So what you want to ask yourself is, and some of you can do this without doing all this if you really understand the concept. So I'm going to renumber here. So you want to say how many, what's the equal number each group has? And if you notice, there's 2 2s, there's 2 3s, there's 2 4s, and there's 2 1s, plus the extra one we had, right? Because there's 9. So the answer is what's the equal number of discs in each group? Well, that was 2. Plus we had 1 extra. So that's our remainder. So 9 divided by 4 is 2 with a remainder of 1. All right. Using the algorithm or long division, this honestly for smaller numbers, I think the algorithm over here is actually easier, because all you ask yourself is, all right, how many times does 4 go into 9? Or if I count by 4s, how many 4s do I need till I hit 9 or I'm close to 9? Right? So I can go 4, 8, that's it. I can't go past, put another 4 there because I'll go past 9. So that's 1, 2 4s. 2 4s go into 9, and 2 4s is equal to 8. So I put that there. I subtract to find what's left over, and there's my remainder, 2 remainder 1. All right? So I'm going to give you one to try on your own with a remainder and see what you can do. I want you to try and either use this method, or if you can, use the algorithm, the long division, that's fine. I'm just going to give you a problem to solve. So let's solve, how about 19 divided by 3. Why don't you solve 19 divided by 3 and tell me what the answer is? Don't forget, if there's a remainder, to put R whatever the leftover is. Go ahead. All right, so I'll do place value discs first. So there's 9 ones, and there is 1 10. Okay. Now this is going to be a little tricky on the place value chart, because watch, I have to divide into 3 groups. Are there 3 10s? No. So if there aren't 3 10s, this 1 10 has to go over into the ones column. But think about that. One of these does not mean 1 over here, right? This is 1 10 is equal to 10 ones, right? So if I have to move this over because I don't have enough to divide them, I have to write 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, now I have 19. Then I can do the dividing into 3 groups. And if you don't want to do the count off, that's fine. You can just circle groups of 3 if you think that's less confusing than counting off. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. This is where it gets weird because I have an even number. There's another group of 3, so that's 4, 5, 6. Some of you might like the circling better. So that's 6 groups of 3 with, and I always like to put my remainder as a square so it stands out, with a remainder of 1. So hopefully you got that. And then showing you that over here, let me write over this, showing you that with the long division or algorithm, same thing. I can count by 3s, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Can't do another 3 because I'll go past 19. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's my 6 3s, which will go into 18. Whatever this last number is I got to, that's the number you put down under your dividend, the number that's in the little house. You subtract to get your remainder. You put it up here. All right? Again, just like with all the math, don't get frustrated if you struggle at all. You can go back and watch this video. You can watch other videos I've done. You can ask me for help. Just don't quit. Don't get frustrated. If you don't get it the first time, don't worry.